Welcome. What happening? What's happening? Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure my volume. Let me check my audio. Give me a second. All right, we good. What's happening, folks? Welcome to the latest episode. Even though I don't really chronicleize these as episodes, the post game. So we'll just say welcome to the post game reaction show with myself, SimFBallCritic, live from the Still Basement, aka the virtual shore. What's happening? What's going on? Norfolk in the building. I see you. Somebody said we need another receiver. Okay. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all like this, man, and I'm gonna get to you guys in a moment as far as saying hello to the early commenters. This is gonna be an interesting post-game reaction show because I can't wait to see all of the reasons why you guys feel like the Steelers lost and whose fault it is, why we are where we are right now at 3-7. I can't wait to see that, right? And the reason why I can't wait to see that, and I'm going to repeat this later in the show when more people come in, I'm not surprised at any of this. I told you guys weeks ago that I didn't have any expectations. I put it in the title tonight. I said the Steelers being competitive they'll do just enough to make your heart hurt. And that's just what it is, guys. And we're going to get into it. But like we always do, let's say hello to the early commenters first. Let's get right to it. Brent Fox. Lanisha. Hello, Lanisha. Miss Lady. Hello, Lanisha. Thank you, Miss Lady, for coming through like you always do. I'm telling you, you boy, you're so reliable. Lanisha's always here. Ron Simpson Gaming. Reggie Reg. Who else? Mark Goodrich. Who else we got up in here? Q, Relfax, King 419, No Limit, Still a Nation, Brandon. This other name I can't pronounce. It's Jigawanata Star, I guess. I hope I said that right. Vista Light, Bettsburg, Ghost Marley, MJ, JJ Walker, Still a Lee. Brother Mark 1992, T-Dog, Claude Bishop, George Rice, 410 Carpenter Legend, M. Marcus, Zuri Rivers, my man Tyrone, why do I keep saying wrong? Tyrone Johnson, checking in from Norfolk, VA. What's happening? The real Missy. Hello, the real Missy. Another wonderful lady of that chat. Fellas, make sure y'all take care of the ladies and say hello, a proper hello. El Capo, is it Faki Balboa? What up, Sim from Norfolk? You from Norfolk too? Okay, that's what's up. I see we got some Virginia folk up in the building. I always love seeing some Virginia representation. And father-in-law Leonard, who actually just left my home. We were watching the game together, had dinner together. Marlon Nicholson. So let's get right into it, because again, I've been telling myself I'm not doing these super long shows no more. So let's get right into it and get right up out of here. All right. First and foremost, I always talk about who was inactive, so we all know that by now. Boswell, Spoon, Isaiah Riley, I think, Rudolph, Green, Robinson, and just to remind you guys, Chris Boswell is on IR, right? So we're going to be without him for 2 more weeks. And, shout outs to Matthew Wright. He didn't miss any kicks today. Kicked relatively well, so shout outs to him. A couple injuries that I have here. Jaylen Warren went out with the hamstring. And also Kenyon informed me that Borkin went down. I didn't realize that, but, hopefully those guys can get back. Because I definitely like the 1-2 punch effect that you get with Jaylen Warren. So hopefully Jaylen Warren is not, dealing with that hamstring for much longer. And again, even though I don't have expectations for this season in terms of where they're going, they're not going anywhere. What I'm looking for is this season is to see how they finish. Regardless of what the record is, I want to see how they finish. I want to see how does the offense look as a whole in the last week of the season. I want to see how these young guys progress, right? The Jaylen Warrens of the world, the Kenny Pickett's of the world, the George Pickens of the world, which is going to be a stud. He did drop that last one, but it looks like it kind of hit his fingertips. It didn't look like he had it in his mitts, but I'm not going to be upset with George Pickens dropping a pass with the ridiculous catches that he makes. It happens, and the game was over anyway. But yeah, let's continue. Do I have office visits tonight? I didn't write them down, to be honest, but they'll probably pop in my mind as I'm going through it. And let's get to it. We always talk about the first defensive series and the first offensive series. So the Steelers did defer. They kicked off. Steelers were able to force a third and eight, and the Steelers get off the field with a 3 and out. Outstanding. And what I notated here is the Steelers played a 3 safety look with Minka in the box, and Minka played man coverage against Hurst, forced a high throw, and KZ was playing back deep. So with KZ being back in the fold, you're seeing what the Steelers really want to do. I didn't really chart it to say how much KZ was out there or how many times we ran with the 3 safety look. I'll see that more when I get a chance to see the all 22. But that was something that I notated. Clearly, that's what they want to do. I didn't expect Minka to even play in this game. Coming right back the very next week. That's outstanding right there after having an appendectomy. So it's dope to get Minka back in the fold. But anyway, they do exactly what you would hope. You defer, you go 3 and out. Perfect, right? Beautiful. Now let's talk about the first offensive series, shall we? The drive starts on the 5 after a muff punt by Steven Sims. Ran him into the end zone, and at that point, he had to do whatever he could to not cause a safety, because since he muffed it, he touched it, and you can recover it. So he has to run in the end zone to get ahead of steam, ends up getting back to the 5-yard line. The Steelers gained 1 yard with a quick pass to Najee on first down. Second down, they gained 1 yard with a run by Najee. Steelers are faced with the 3rd and 8, and guess what happens? Just like the 3rd and 8 that they had forced the Bengals into, they're in the same 3rd and 8, and the Steelers only pick up 5 yards with a pass to Pickens, and they go 3 and out. So now let's get into the meat of the game. Steelers force a 3rd and 6, and the Steelers are able to stop the Bengals short of the sticks. The Bengals have to settle for a field goal on that drive, and it's now 3-0 Bengals. Second offensive drive, Pickett finds Pickens for a big gain downfield. Pickett to Pickens. That's something I'm really going to enjoy saying over the years because, yeah, we're going to see a lot of that. Big gain and put Steelers in Bengals territory. Steelers run a shovel pass to Gentry. I don't know why we're running that to Gentry. They lose a yard. They're faced with 3rd and 8 again. And then Pickett finds Warren on the check down to convert a 3rd and 7. He throws it back. Wait. I'm reading too many sentences. Okay, I said he went to Warren for a check down. Boom, we convert. Then there was a 3rd and 7 later in that drive. He throws it back shoulder to Najee Harris, and Najee is unable to catch it. Now, this one, folks, I think this one was way more catchable than last week. Remember last week when they threw a pass to Najee and he kind of had to jump up and stretch and get it, and most of us said that was a tough catch to make. I'm going to ask you guys the question again because, ironically, it happens this week. I'm going to ask you guys, that particular throw early in the first quarter, back shoulder to Najee on 3rd and 7, do you guys think that is catchable? And do you expect Najee to catch it? I'm going to go out there on the limb and say yes. That one to me was even more catchable than last week because that one actually literally hit him in the hands like here. The defender's hand was kind of there, but again, when the ball hits you like this, you got to come down with that. Najee is he's just not a great receiving back. He's not Le'Veon Bell. Last week, I know you guys were trying to compare him to Le'Veon, saying, well, Le'Veon would have caught that. Well, okay, we're talking about Le'Veon Bell. What do you guys think? I'm going to stay here for a moment and give you guys a chance to answer. Do you think Najee should have caught that? Steeler card says Jaylen Warren is better catching out of the backfield. That may be true based on what we've seen, but have we seen Jaylen Warren catch one of those? A acrobatic or a tougher type of catch. Last week, yes. This week, no. So you're saying that he should have caught last week, but not this one, T-Dog? Okay. Leonard Green says now he should have had that one. Okay. Rajon says yes. Ladell says yes. Yes, he should have caught it from King 419. Kenya says yes, but he didn't, Sim. Right, he didn't. T-Dog says, I expect better from him in the future and those catch balls well on film. Okay, Greg says yes as well. All right, so most of you guys are saying yes. And again, T-Dog is saying he should have caught last week's and not this one. So I disagree with that as far as T-Dog. No, I think, just again, it's an opinion. I'm not saying either one of us is right or wrong. I feel like this one was more catchable than last week. Or I expected him to catch it more so than last week. So, all right, let's keep it moving, man. Mr. Elman says, absolutely. Okay, let's keep it moving. So, Steelers don't convert there. Give it back to the Bengals. Cam starts off the drive with a 2-yard tackle for loss. Spillane gets called for a face mask on a 3rd and 1, where the Steelers actually stopped them. And then the Steelers give up a 29-yard touchdown pass to Piron on a screen pass. Well executed. And it's interesting because Leonard asked me this question as we were watching the game. We don't run many halfback screens. We just don't. We don't. We run tight end screens or the quick the normal wide receiver screen where they're way out there flanked out. We don't seem to run many running back, halfback screens, or even somebody from the halfback or running back position. We don't do it. We did it a few times this year. Remember the one to Jaylen Warren? I think that was against Cleveland, and it worked, right? But it was a penalty. But we don't seem to run it enough. And I think maybe we should, because maybe this offensive line is better on the move than they are straight up run blocking. But I don't know, man. So yeah, it's 10-3 Bengals. Third offensive drive, 39-yard return by Steven Sims. Steven Sims has been doing a great job in the return game. Drive starts at the 44 of the Bengals. The 44 of the Steelers. The Steelers face a 3rd and 7, and Kenny converts with the pass to Freiermuth. Steelers convert a 3rd and 2 with a keeper by Kenny Pickett, and Najee finishes the drive with a touchdown run to the left side for a sizable run. I think there was plus 20 yards on that. I wrote here there was a great block by Gentry as well as George Pickens. They sealed that left side, and Najee was very decisive. Thank you, Najee. I saw a couple times tonight where it seemed like he hesitated, but on that particular run, he was decisive. He made his decision and he pressed to the outside. And Pickens and Gentry were able to seal, and he gets into the end zone. And of course, he leaps. I'm telling Najee, man, I know he can do it, but he better start relaxing that hurdle. Remember Le'Veon Bell used to do that a lot too? And then Le'Veon kind of toned that down when he got in the league after that first season. Najee need to take that down. I fear one of these times that Najee's going to get hurt when he hurdles, because he goes up so high and so recklessly. He just needs to chill it out, man. But anyway, at that point, it's 10-10. Okay, we still in it. Bengals put together a heck of a drive on the very next series. Robert Spillane misses a tackle on a check down to Piron to allow his second receiving touchdown. And the Steelers, up to this point, are not getting a lot of pass rush. And that's what I wrote as one of my keys at that moment. We weren't getting any real pass rush, man, up to that point. And they go up 17-10. I want to remind you guys, that was a 92-yard drive. If I remember correctly, the Bengals started that drive on their 8-yard line. Fourth offensive possession, Steelers convert a 3rd and 1 with the handoff to Deontay Johnson. Pickett misses Pickens wide open. Remember the one in the end zone? Wide open. I did not let that go unnoticed that he missed him, even though Dan Moore was called for holding anyway. So then the Steelers are faced with the 3rd and 4. Pickens is able to draw a PI on Mike Hilton. Shout out to Mike Hilton, former Steeler, with a slot fade attempt. Again, on 3rd and 4, later on, Pickett is called for false start. Come on. The quarterback called for false start. Come on, Pickett. But then, how do we finish that drive? What have I said we're going to be hearing for years to come? Pickett to Pickens for the touchdown. 17-17. At this point, it's a tie ball game. Very next drive by the Bengals, Robert Spillane tips pass on a blitz, and Levi Wallace gets an acrobatic interception. Outstanding catch by Levi. Levi has made his name and his presence felt in these last 2 games. He's played pretty solid when he's in these one-on-one situations. Steelers they had about 31 seconds at that point. It was right before the half to do something with the ball. And I wrote here they had all 3 timeouts. So again, 5th drive starts, 31 seconds left in the half. Drive starts on the 44-yard line of the Bengals. And we start that drive with a false start by Deontay Johnson. This is these things. I know people always try to say, and again, I'm not challenging anyone, but I'm just stating what people state to me here. A lot of times you guys always want to go to the team is undisciplined. Okay. And y'all want to put that on the coaches and or head coach. Okay. But in my personal opinion, someone who has played sports or particularly played football, that's up here. False start is here. A false start has nothing to do with a coach, in my opinion. That's you, the player. Mental penalties, false start, holding and stuff, that's on you. Then you can say globally, oh, the team is undisciplined, fine. And you can place the blame on whoever you feel that you want it to be blamed on. But in all reality, that is on the player. Mental penalties is on a player. They got to do better. And I don't know what you do as a coach to make it better. You know, people always say, oh, well, the coach got to whip him and shit. What do you do? What do you do? Do you bench everybody? You know, these key guys that you need? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't. Let's keep it moving. Pickett finds Freiermuth after buying some time with his legs. And Muth gets a big yards after contact. That was the one where it took like 7 people from the Bengals to tackle him. But the Steelers are unable to punch it into the end zone. They are able to end the drive with a field goal. They go into the half 20-17, and they are going to get the ball coming out of half. So I'm like, great. This is exactly what you asked for. You deferred. You kicked off in the beginning of the game. You pitched a 3-and-out. Of course, the offense didn't do anything with it. But again, pitched a 3-and-out. You have the ball last before the half. You go down and put points on the board. And now you're going to come out in the second half with the ball, with momentum. Let's see what happens. 6th drive. Steelers are facing a 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9 right out the gate. And guess what happens? Yeah, 3-and-out. And I wrote here in bold letters, kills all momentum the Steelers had going into the half. Defensively, right after that, Highsmith and TJ Watt combined for a sack to force a 3rd and 16. Steelers get off the field after pressure by Big Cam and Alex Highsmith. Cam gets a hit on Burrow. And I remember saying to Leonard that not only did we get off the field, but that hit right there is important. You know, because sometimes when quarterbacks get hit, it speeds up their clock. But I'm going to tell you, Joe Burrow is a beast. Y'all got to give this kid his credit. So what do we do with the 7th drive? So remember, we start the half going 3-and-out. We go out there and get them in 3rd and long, get off the field. Now, what do they do with the 7th drive? You guessed it. 3-and-out. Bad punt by Harvard as well on that one. But the Steelers went 3-and-out back-to-back right there. That's not good. Bengals convert a 3rd and 5 on their next drive. Higgins beats Wallace off the press and gets in a goal-to-go situation. So, yeah, Wallace got beat on that one. You know, you got to get your hands on the guy, but sometimes the receiver's going to win. It's the NFL. You're going to win some, lose some. Bengals score on a sprint-out pass to Irwin, and it was a great throw and a great call. You know, I really liked doing something that challenges or compromises the defense instead of just doing the expected. That sprint out gets the defense flowing in one direction. It reduces the pressure. And that was an excellent route. And, you know, they drew up a nice route where Irwin started inside and then broke back outside. And Joe Burrow was able to roll to his right, zip it in there. Got to give credit where credit is due. 8th drive by the Steelers. Steelers facing a 3rd and 13 after a tackle for loss on a wide receiver handoff. A jet sweep. And guess what they do? Can you guys guess what they do right there? They go 3 and out. So that's 6th drive, 7th drive, 8th drive, 3 and out. But guess what? The defense bails him out. Well, let me say the guy on my thumbnail. TJ Watt with one of the most incredible interceptions I have ever seen in terms of a degree of difficulty. And the funny thing is he's done this before. But let's give TJ Watt a round of applause. TJ Watt is just 2 words, man. Generational talent, and that's it. There's not enough superlatives. Almost messed that word up. It's not enough of those. It's not enough superlatives, man, to express what TJ Watt is. Generational talent. What a find. And again, I got to give the entire staff, Colbert, Tomlin, the scouts, everybody who drafted TJ Watt, because again, remember, he was a project. He was the last pass rusher in that draft as far as projections. So they hit a home run with that one, and boy did they need to, because a lot of our pass rushers and or cornerbacks have not been great draft selections by the Steelers, but they hit a home run with that one. Yeah, man. TJ Watt is just that guy. He's just that dude. So the Steelers get the ball. 9th drive, Kenny throws to Muth. I wrote Muth or Gentry because I couldn't see the number, but it was on 1st down, and he threw it into triple coverage. It's one of the things I'm going to talk about here in a minute. That was on 1st down. The offense is unable to convert a 3rd and 4 after just 3 plays. So that's essentially a 3 and out. They can't convert a 3rd and 4 after not being able to do nothing on 1st and 2nd, and you can't convert on that 3rd play. So that's, to me, essentially a 3 and out. The reason why you don't classify it as a 3 and out is because they were in field goal range. They hit the field goal, and at this point, it's 24-23. Very eerie, because some of you guys may not have seen it, but I posted my Madden version of this game like early in the 1st quarter. I meant to post it earlier before the game start, but didn't work out that way. And there's a point in that game for you guys who will see it where the score was 24-23. Whoa. I text Kenyon and Tony, was like, this is crazy. The score in that game at one point was 24-23 in favor of the Bengals. Go check it out. But anyway, the drive starts at the 44 after a good return again by Sims. Excuse me. No, I'm wrong. That's the Bengals. Their drive starts at the 42 after a good return by their returner. Bengals convert a 3rd and 2 with a short run. Steelers end the drive with a sack by Cam Haywood and forces the Bengals into another field goal situation. They hit it. It is now 27-23 Bengals. 10th offensive drive. Steelers convert on 3rd and 4 with a shot downfield to Pickens. Pickett to Pickens. It's starting to come to life. Pickett gets sacked on 3rd and long. And then I wrote right there, drive is over. The drive was over. After flipping the field, Steelers give up a sack and the drive is over. And I wrote a question here. And I'm going to talk about it in a few moments when I get to the takeaways. The question I wrote is, why do we run empty so much in these 3rd down situations? Sometimes I feel like you're tipping your hand, because there's not so much you can do in terms of route combination from empty when it's a situational down. When it's situational football, when in most cases now these guys know they can pin their ears back. We do it quite often, man. But yeah, we don't do anything. But anyway, right after that, false start backs up the Bengals up to the 5-yard line after playing Renegade. Something magical about Renegade, because look what happened. Steelers end up getting the Bengals in a 3rd and 12 from the Bengals 7-yard line, and the Steelers get off the field with another 3 and out by the defense. 11th drive. Drive starts at the Bengals 47-yard line Najee rips off a pretty sizable run. I think it was about 12 yards or so on first down. Freiermuth gets called for holding on the very next play. Following that, ineligible man downfield by JC. Steelers end up putting themselves in a 3rd and 25 situation and are forced to punt. You know what I call that drive? That's an honorary 3 and out because we got the first down run, and then the following 3 plays after that, we killed ourselves with penalties and we punted the ball away. And then I just wrote right after this, man, the Bengals hit the Steelers with back-to-back explosive plays to move on down the field after being pinned deep. They move right down the field. They get a touchdown with another check down to P-Ron. Miles Jack falls as he's trying to get out in coverage, and P-Ron gets into the end zone. 12th offensive drive. These are my words. Steelers do absolutely nothing. That's what I wrote. And then my next note I have here, the Steelers score another touchdown in garbage time to bring the score to 37-30. Now, what's interesting, again, referring back to my Madden version of this, it was a high-scoring game. And even after the game, I said, I doubt this is going to happen in the real world. And what do you know? 37-30. But let's get to some of my takeaways, man. Then I'm going to come into the chat, and then we're going to get out of here. Let me see what we got. Steelers defense missing some tackles early in that game, and they missed some tackles late in that game. Steelers not getting consistent pressure, and I wrote that early in the game. I said this in the first half. We turned up the heat a little bit in the second half. I think the defense got going. Both TJ, both Cam, both Alex Highsmith showed up. There was a couple occasions where Larry Ogunjobi forced some issues, but pass rush didn't really come to life until the second half. And again, you know, sometimes the ebb and flow of games, it happens like that. Like, I know the defense did some things differently, like with alignment, but, you know, I just didn't feel like we were getting any pressure early in that game. So when the Bengals were really stacking their points, we were not getting to Joe Burrow. But you also got to take notice of the fact that Joe Burrow is a really good quarterback right now. He's smart, he's uber accurate, and he's decisive. The boy was getting rid of the ball like that. Clockwork. When you can get rid of the ball that quick and have pinpoint accuracy, you don't have to do the quick check down. You remember how we used to get tired of the way we played our offense the last couple of years with Ben? We were saying, oh, he's getting the ball out quick, and we hate. Oh, here we go. Here we go with the nonsense, man. Hold on, guys. Let me get this out of there. Remember how we said we didn't like that? How Ben was getting the ball out quick, but it was like check downs and such. Well, a guy like Joe Burrow doesn't have to live by check down Charlie because he's uber accurate. So he can anticipate a throw, because a couple of them times, yeah, he was hitting T. Higgins, but T. Higgins, it wasn't necessarily busted coverage. You know, guys were relatively close sometimes, and my man just putting it in there. Burrow just fitting it in there. Which is another eerie thing about the Madden game. T. Higgins was his main target of that. It's weird. But anyway, excuse me. We just wasn't getting consistent pressure. It was a combination of us and or Joe Burrow, you know, getting the ball off quick. I wrote here, Steven Sims is a solid returner. I mean, he's solidified. I also wrote here, Kenny Pickett threw the ball behind his receivers quite a few times in this game. And he also threw the ball recklessly a few times in this game. Again, there's too many times I still see, and this is particularly when he's going to tight ends, he seems to throw right into coverage. You know, like the one he threw to move, it might 2 or 3 of them like that, but one time it was triple coverage. Even that last drive when he threw that ball to Gunnar O, that was covered. There was a man behind Gunnar O and the linebacker undercut it. All should have been picked off. So Kenny, again, there's a lot of things that Kenny's going to have to work on. But unlike some of you guys that probably are in the chat, and I haven't even looked yet, I'm not down on Kenny Pickett. I'm allowing Kenny Pickett to play his rookie year. I'm still sticking by, I like Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett is going to be a baller. He shows flashes. Let Kenny go through this process. Let him learn this game and let him work extremely hard in the offseason, understanding what he faced as a rookie in the NFL, understanding what he has to work on, and let him come back and prove himself the next year. I'm sticking with Kenny Pickett. This is the stuff that, again, I hate to use this parallel, but again, Josh Allen was horrible in his first year. Is Kenny Pickett going to be Josh Allen? I have no idea. I'm just saying I like what I see from him in terms of how he handles himself. That means a lot. He's not a chump. He doesn't cower. I feel like he has an it factor. He has a dog in him. He's just got to learn how to be a little smarter with the ball, improve his accuracy, and just work on his progression game. This is not how I felt about Mason Rudolph. Well, not even me, some of you guys. To me, I think it's way different when y'all was like, yo, he's never going to be able to turn it around. I don't think you can say that about Kenny. Some of y'all might, but I don't think you can say that. I think Kenny Pickett is going to be fine. We're just going through right now our rebuilding woes. Point blank, period. And again, I'll say it now because the majority of you all who are watching today are probably in here now. I've been saying this for weeks. Go back and watch my past weeks. Stop having expectations for this season. The Steelers are not going anywhere. When I said that 3-4 weeks ago, I meant that. They're not. This is not a great team, but they're going to do just enough to give you a heart attack because they play good enough to make you think, oh, they can pull it out. Like today, they probably could have won this game. They did not. They're going to compete. But don't have expectations. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. And even if they lucked up and somehow got into the playoffs, what hopes do you have of them making a playoff run? So throw that aside. And I would recommend you guys judge each game accordingly based on how they played, who played well, who played bad, what are the biggest holes on the team. That's it. Don't have no weekly expectations of win or loss. Because at this point, it doesn't matter. They're 3-7. In order for them to not have a losing season, and not even just a losing season, in order for them to be in a position where I think the playoffs is possible, I don't think a team can do worse than 9-8. Even though there's not a lot of AFC teams that have more than 5 wins. But still, I don't think that having more than 8 losses are going to get you in the playoffs. So that means the Steelers could only lose one more game to finish 9-8. So get that out of your mind. Think about the future. That's what I'm doing. I acknowledge, even as far back as last year, I said this is going to be a rebuild without Ben. Whether y'all liked or loved or hated Ben in that last few years, we all should have known that the new era was going to be different. And this is where we at right now. Unfortunately, after how many seasons? 16, 15 seasons. We're finally at the point where we're not winning well. We're going to be picking higher in the draft. We're here. So again, I would recommend you watch this team and judge how the team is playing as a whole. How do they come together by the end of the season? Who looks like they're going to be solid? Who looks like they need to go? What are the biggest holes that we need to fill? And that's it. Your life will be much easier, I promise you. I wrote here, Kenny Pickett shows some poise in this game, man. He's having a rough go at it. He's going through his ups and downs. I already talked about him throwing in the coverage. There is one guy I'm going to call into the office. I'm not even going to waste my time in calling in Canada. We can do that every week. There's one guy that hasn't been in the office in a while. I think it's time. Dan Moore. Come on down, sir. We got to have a talk. So, Mr. Dan Moore. Let me start off by saying this. You were drafted in the fourth round. You were drafted in the fourth round when we drafted you. Usually people don't have a lot of expectations for a fourth round left tackle. Somehow you played well enough in practice and in training camp and preseason to earn the starting position. Played decent in your first year. Played relatively decent against some very respectful pass rushers. But this season, listen, maybe it wasn't wise for me to have expectations with you being a later round pick. And again, I'm one of those people that don't always feel like the draft pick always matters. There's guys who drafted super late. There's guys who undrafted guys who turned out to be great players. I get all of that. But, year after year, we're always going to go with projections first. So maybe we shouldn't have expected so much out of a left tackle that was drafted in the fourth. And at that point, you were the second offensive lineman taken by the Steelers behind Kendrick Green. So imagine that. Kendrick Green's evaluation was higher. But, sir, I'm just here to tell you that you're not the answer. I know a lot of times we wait for that third year to see what guys are going to be here in Pittsburgh. That's usually the magic year, the money year. But, Dan Moore, I'm here to tell you that I think the Steelers are going to go looking for a left tackle. If not in free agency, I think they're going to draft one who's probably going to challenge you and win the starting position. So I'm just informing you that before the organization does. You're not the answer. Thanks, but no thanks. Because that Hendrickson kid was giving you all the work he wanted to give you today. Man, and that right side was getting crashed too by Hubbard. But man, Dan Moore. Oof. That's all I got. That's all I got. You know what? As I peek over here, yeah, you're right, Lydell Dorsey, number 65. As I peek over here in the chat, can I say this real quick? Listen, I love that we share our opinions and stuff in the chat and all of that, but can I say this? Can we stop repeating the same thing every week? And I'm gonna call out one person only. My man Mark Malone. Dude, like every week you come in here and just, we get it. You are not a Mike Tomlin fan. Fine. We have that signed, sealed, and delivered. It's stamped. Why do we have to? Why is it the same thing every week? I'm gonna be honest and keep it a buck with y'all, man. I get tired of seeing the same stuff every week. Like, can we stop that? Can we all just start having better conversations? Like, can we, you know what I'm saying? Can we all as a community here, Steelers fans, let's talk about what happened in the game. Like, why is it the same exact wording every week? Oh, until he's fired, nothing's gonna. Yeah, okay. So if that's how you feel, Mark, then it shouldn't be nothing for you to say until he's fired. You get what I'm saying? I've been stopped caring how people feel about the coaches and players. I don't care. I have my opinions, y'all have y'all, and y'all shouldn't care what I say either in terms of how you feel. Y'all respect, I guess, what I say. We all respect each other, but what I'm saying is nobody should never care how somebody else feels. If you feel dead, you're dead hard on something. That's fine. But dog, can we change the channel? Like, dog, can we change the channel? It's certain people and players and coaches that y'all don't like, and most of us that, yeah, he don't rock with them. But can we change that channel? Like, what good is what good does it do for us to discuss that in the exact same manner every week? To me, that makes the chat lame. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's have more to say. Like, it's fine if you want him fired. I will always, matter of fact, Mark, I will promise you this. The day that Tomlin is not the coach, I will come on here and say, man, I know my man Mark is happy today. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, come on, man. Let's be better over here in this chat group. I hold all of us at a high regard, man. Let's talk about more than just the same preaching the same message every week. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just had to say that. I just had to say that. Just had to say that. But and again, I know some of y'all are gonna rip me to shreds with that, but it's cool. It's cool. I don't care. I promise y'all, I don't care. Let me see. Oh, we got a donation. Round of applause to my man Louise D. And before I even hit the round of applause, this goes to show you how much I try to just, I don't care. Like, I know there's some of y'all probably in here like, oh, you suck. I don't care. Which is the reason why I can say what I want to say and be like, dog, change the channel. Because it's going to get to a point where I'm not even paying attention to the comment. I want to hear something else. I want to hear something. I want all of us to progress our conversations, because again, and some of y'all probably say, well, you do the same. Well, all right, if you feel that way, then say the same about me. That's how much goes to show you that I just want, I don't know. Some of y'all agree, some of y'all don't, and I'll live with that. Round of applause to my man, Luis D. And real quick, USA, you're completely missing my point when you say some of us think Tomlin sucks at this time. You're missing exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying to Mark has zero to do with whether someone likes or don't like Tomlin. If you're not understanding the message that I'm delivering, I don't know what else to tell you. My man Luis D says, on the Bengals' fast touchdown drive, I didn't like the fact that Marlette was on Tyler Boyd, where he made some key catches that led to that touchdown. I'm with you. However, I got to say this. The Steelers seem to, it almost seems like they kind of go with a feeling on defense. Because as soon as I want to get on Marlette, because I've been on him. Last week, the boy played phenomenal. Remember that play he made on that slot fade? Phenomenal. But we all know that Marlette is not known necessarily for his coverage. But it doesn't seem, I don't know, it's like the Steelers switch it up. Sometimes you might see Cam Sutton in the slot, but then they've been rocking with Marlette quite often too. So I don't know the rhyme or reason there. I don't know if they have a legit three corners that they're going to say, you guys are always going to be our set group in nickel. Because sometimes it's Marlette, sometimes it's Cam Sutton. But I understand what you're saying, man. But I won't be so fast to beat up Marlette. Only because last week I was singing his praises. And I'm not going to be, me personally, this is my own comment. I'm not going to be phony and just get on him for games where he doesn't do so well, because I don't expect much out of him anyway, if that makes sense. But I think I get what you're saying, though. So appreciate that. Let's see. What else do I have, man? It's probably about it. Matt Canada. Let's talk about Matt Canada for a second. This is my opinion and my opinion only. Matt Canada at times seems to call fairly decent plays. Let me give y'all an example. Remember I told you guys that I can look at a play that doesn't work and still say it's a good call? I'm going to give you an example. Y'all remember the two plays back to back where Kenny Pickett was a part of the RPO and he kept it and ran around the outside? Didn't get much on the first one. He comes right back on the third down, runs the same thing, and he picks up the first down. And I told Leonard when that happened, I said, you know what? When it happened the first time, The first play, I said, we didn't get much of that, but I like that. Let me tell you why I liked it. Because now it puts that threat out there. Now a team has to honor, oh, he might tuck it. And maybe that's why Kenny was able to pick up the third down on the back-to-back play. Sometimes you see certain calls that you like, I like that. Might not hit. Because, listen, I don't judge a good, let me tell y'all what I don't do. I don't judge a good call on whether it worked or not. You know why? Because every play is not going to work every time. That's that Madden mentality. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And in the same regard, that's the same reason why the people who complain about actual football things that do happen in Madden, I know Madden ain't at the greatest point it could be, but it's because people have the video game mentality when if it doesn't work the way they want it to work right then, it's broken. I think some of the fans have the same mentality when they watch the game. If a play doesn't work, right? Without you knowing the structure of the play, the blocking scheme, the progression target, none of that, without knowing any of that, the first thing you say, oh, that was a stupid play call because it didn't work. So I try not to be results driven. I try to look at the structure of the play and be like, ooh, they didn't execute that one. Ooh, one missed block. So again, going back to those two plays, the first play, Kenny only got like a yard or so, but I was like, ooh, I like that. We need to use his legs more to create the thought, the thought of him running. Came right back with it and it worked. I love it. Because clearly Sam Hubbard wasn't thinking about him even on the second play because he crashed down on the back. So that was a good call. So when I talk about Canada's play calling, trust me when I say this, I'm not results driven. But here's where Canada gets on my nerves. He continues to fall back into complacency. It's like, dog, the offense actually got going in this game. In the first half, they was moving the ball from time to time. There was a couple 3 and outs in there, here and there, but there were drives that we were putting together, right? Mixing plays in, taking shots. You saw some of the routes, even the one when George Pickens, the touchdown, when he runs that deep over route, not just doing the normal fly pattern or the comeback. You saw some things happening. Pickett had time, let that thing fly, running the ball. Like, you saw a mix and the offense started to develop some rhythm. But here's where Matt Canada kills me when he gets complacent and he's stuck in the mud. There are two things that Matt Canada loves to death. Loves to death. Two things. And actually, it might be three. Let me go back and look at my notes. Hold on. It might be three. So let's say the honorary one first. The honorary thing that we know he loves is the jet sweep. Though he didn't run it so much today, he just ran the illusion of it, which you should, right? The time he did hand it off, I thought it was at the wrong time to do that. I want to say that was on that was on the drive coming out the half when we lost 2 yards. We start the drive and lose 2 yards, handing it off to Stevenson. God, it looked like the Bengals had everybody on the line of scrimmage. Even the commentators was like, oh, Jermaine Pratt was just waiting for it. And I'm like, dog, his situational play calling, it's like, excuse me, here's the two things that he really loves. He will run that ball up the middle on 2nd and 10. I mean, right up the yin-yang. I mean, it's almost clockwork. 2nd and 10, 2nd and long, he'll run that thing right up the middle. And it goes nowhere most of the time. And the other thing that he's really in love with, I'm starting to see week after week, putting us in the empty set on 3rd down, on 3rd and long. Exposing that offensive line that is not that great. They have their moments where they do decent. I'm not going to take that back from them. I have talked about them from a few weeks back saying, hey, these guys can pass protect. So I'm not going to sit here and be phony and act like they do okay at times. But their Dan Moore just was not having a great go at it today. The Bengals were getting a lot of penetration. So why were we going in empty so often? because you expose yourself to the rush. There's no running back there to chip, unless you're gonna chip him from the line, which we did sometimes. We lined Najee up at his, where he could kind of chip, but it just exposed you to the rush, and it kind of takes away a quick check down out the backfield. When you're gonna just put the running back already out there, then the defense can kind of know, all right, well, we ain't got to worry about a last minute check down out the backfield. The dude already out here. Just stay in my area if I'm playing zone. And I just don't get it, man. I don't get it with Canada. Like I said, it's situational play calling. And situational don't necessarily have to mean the possession downs. It don't always have to mean third down. It could just mean point of the game. Like I said, I did not like that jet sweep call at that moment because of the moment and the point of that game at that time. I felt like we should have attacked. That's when I would have attacked. And look, let the best man win. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is always going to work, but when we got that momentum, attack, dog. Like, keep it going. Don't fall back in love with, we got the lead now. Let me go back into my normal playbook. Exhibit A, bring it up. Call that one, Kenny. And call that one, Kenny. Come on, man. That's my biggest beef with Matt Canada. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the entire playbook and most people are just going to say, oh, he sucks. I just don't do that because, guys, I'm not in that building. I'm sure this man draws up nice plays. Sometimes it's miscommunication on offense. Sometimes it's Kenny not reading the field. Sometimes it's a bad throw by Kenny. It's not always Canada. But I think what we all can see is those moments where he just calls the basic play. And I did not like the moment that they called that flea flicker. That wasn't the time for it. I didn't like it, man. I didn't like him calling the flea flicker at that moment, at that point of the field. But more importantly, my biggest problem today is we just didn't attack more, especially when we had the big momentum on our side, bruh. Who in here talking about race now? What exactly, can y'all explain to me, what exactly is USA saying? Because to be honest, I'm about to just get you up out of here. He said I sound like Stephen A. I'm gonna just pull the trigger. I'm gonna pull the trigger and get you out of here, man. I'm gonna give you a chance though. Y'all in the chat, can y'all tell me exactly what's going on here? Who's talking about race? I'm not trying to hide none of that over here. Round of applause to my man Luis D for the donation. You said I see Key tosses the race car. Who are y'all talking about? You said it's Key. Who's Key? Like I said, I'm gonna let the chat, y'all inform me of what this conversation is, because I'm not looking over here. I don't see it when I'm talking to y'all. So I'm gonna let you guys in the chat let me know what's happening, and I'll make my decision whether or not I'm gonna let it continue to happen. So let's get to the donation, man. My man Luis D says, I like the fact that Kenny has been throwing the ball away when need to, but do you think that there were times that he could have had ran instead? Yes. Leonard, if you're listening, Luis D is saying what you were saying. There was a moment late in that game, I want to say in the fourth quarter, might have been third, where Kenny definitely, I felt like it was like a 3rd and 4. I felt like he probably could have ran for that. I mean, we couldn't see what was in front of him. It was along the right side. But it does seem like sometimes, Kenny, yeah, it's a couple of things, man. It's a couple of things that Kenny is going to have to work on. We all know that. So, yeah, I agree with you there, Luis. I know Leonard would agree with you. There are some times that and again, that's why, man, when you get the film, it's a beautiful thing, as you can see that that God view, that over the head to really see what's happening. Let me check back in on the conversation. Mark said, "I never said it." Yeah, and see, and you didn't, Mark, and that's why. In all honesty, I know it seems like I'll be joking around with you and stuff. That's why I rock with you. Like you notice, I've never said anything out the way to you. I just sometimes disagree with how how passionate you are about your hate. But yeah, that's fine. I'm a fair person. All right, so y'all still going at it. So all right, USA, we gonna holler at you, bro. We gonna holler at you because like I said, to me, views ain't that important to me. I like to keep a nice culture over here, and when anybody comes over here and they just overly reckless for no reason, there's no place for that. There's no place for that. So he's out of here. So my final thoughts again, guys, before I go. Before I come to the chat, like I said, man, don't beat yourselves up this year trying to judge this team. And guys, this team ain't it. They're not. I think we should all be able to grasp that now. And I think it'll make all of you feel better if we start looking ahead at the future. I mean, who knows? If some miracle happened this year, okay. But I'm done with this season in terms of thinking that these Steelers are going anywhere. All I want to do now is just see how they finish the season from a team standpoint. Is over these next how many games we got left? 7? Yeah, because after the bye, it was 9 games we played. Yeah, so I think we got 7 left. I just want to see, does the offense come together any better? I think the offense, though they sputtered a lot today, it does seem like something is coming together a little bit where I can now see where the problems are. And it is still the offensive line in some regard. And it is still some of Kenny Pickett's developing and learning on the job. That's what it is. Defensively, I kind of like where we are a little bit secondary wise in terms. I think these corners are playing hard, but I do think it's time to get another corner or two in the fold. Akello could not stay healthy. Marlette is not your cover guy, even though he played hard last week. And it's Levi Wallace right now over the last couple games has probably been the most solid cornerback. Even though I didn't watch Cam Sutton so much today, but definitely want to get another piece there. I want to retain Casey. I want to retain, if we can, Larry Ogunjobi, unless a Jalen Carter type of kid is available. I do think we need a solidified third man to pass rush. I think, and again, you don't always get great, a three-headed monster. You don't always get that, but at least some teams, the good teams, at least have formidable guys behind the stars. And I don't think we have that. I don't think anyone else behind TJ and Alex has given us much. So we definitely need that. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man, and I might say something that you guys don't agree with. I'm not opposed to bringing Devin Bush back. Let's see how the rest of these 7 games go, but I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to bringing Devin Bush back. And maybe you take a shot on an inside backer if the right one is out there. Anywhere from the 3rd to the 4th round, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go that high unless the right guy is there. But because I think there's other positions that you address. But with having the 2 second-round picks, you could very well find a solidified guy in the 3rd because you could use your 1st and your 2 seconds for the real holes, offensive line and such. But I'm not opposed to it, man. I'm not. I'm being honest there. I'm not opposed to bringing him back at this moment. He's not a beast, but Bush has played well today. I mean, I won't say well. He's been a solid contributor a quiet contributor for the last few games. It hasn't been anything glaring that I don't think any of us would, oh, that was Bush. We haven't seen that in a while. And, if you can retain a guy like that and bring another guy in, I'm not opposed to that. And we keep rotating. I'm cool with having Jack, Bush, and a new guy, or those two. And if Robinson could come around, at some point, I'm not opposed to that. I like Robert Spillane's heart, but you know what I mean? And Edmonds as well. I'm not even opposed to bringing Edmonds back, man, especially if we can keep, KZ. I don't know if we signed KZ for a 1 or 2 year deal, but I would love to go back into next year with these pieces still with the team. Obviously, we know Minka and TJ, but more than likely Cam, unless Cam decides to walk away. I would like to retain Larry O. Miles Jack is on a 2 year. Let's go ahead and keep him, if it's affordable. Let's go ahead and give him that 2nd year. Levi Wallace, I think he signed a 2 year. Levi's played pretty good. KZ, I want to retain that group and build on that group. Because I think we got a little something with the defense. Joe Burrow and the Bengals gave it to him today. Come on, it's the Bengals. Sometimes we got to stop judging our defense negatively when they play a good team or a team that can light it or a good quarterback. Sometimes it just is what it is. I think our defense played well enough today to where if the offense could have been a little more productive, and not even just points, but if we could have sometimes not had the 3 and outs as much as we did, that might have changed the course of the game. You got to remember, there was a point where we were up. So that's kind of how I feel. He said Bush's ward is welcome. Yeah, it is what it is. And William Jackson. Yeah, I forget William Jackson, man. But again, I don't know how much it's going to cost us to keep him next year, and he's older. I wish we could have got him to play this year. Don't get me started now. Y'all want me to be mad at the Scoutets and Tomlin and whoever else involved? That trade? No, if Tomlin wears a piece of that, I got to put it on him. Omar Khan, putting it on him too. Dog, to trade for a guy and you kind of feel good about it because you get him on the cheap for 2022, and this dude goes on IR, and the team at that time was 3-6. Come on, bro. Or were we 2-6? I don't remember, but that right there, yikes. But like I said, I've said what I said about this team, man. That's how I feel about today. That's my knee-jerk reaction to today's game. So let me come over here in the chat, spend a little time with y'all and see what y'all got, man. I'll spend a little time here. What y'all got? Lawrence Holcomb. Maybe he is the cornerback that we need. Who, Jackson? Maybe, but, he's older. Afro Thunder says TJ is the modern Lawrence Taylor. When OCs have to account for him. Yeah, man. TJ, that interception was just... How you account for that? How do you account for that? Nah, Kenyon, I was talking about what we were when we acquired him. We were either 2-6 or... Yeah, I think we acquired him before the Saints game, right? Yeah, so we were 2-6 when we acquired Jackson. Come on, man. And he goes on IR. Yes, you're correct, T-Dog. The Marvin Leal, man, I'm so upset that he went down early, man, because I think Leal is another special one. I want to see how he progresses. Sign Warren. Yes, Warren too. I want to keep Warren. I think you can get Warren on the cheap. Chris Fowler says TJ is him. Yeah, he's him, dog. He's him. No question about it. No question about it. No question about it. Shout out to my man Brent Fox for the donation. Appreciate that. He says, Lydell Dorsey Jr. mentioned that this earlier, but we went over 20 this game, so it's progress. You're right. We did. You're right. Even if you don't want to count the garbage time touchdown, you're right. The offense, they showed flashes today of, and again, it's not about them converting all the time or scoring 100 points, but they showed flashes of where they could be a consistent offense. You can be a consistent offense and only score 24 points. And I'm talking about like sustaining drives. Like even when you don't score or get a field goal, it's all about sustaining drives, giving your defense time to rest, playing in field position game, and our offense hasn't allowed us to do that often enough. But he says we went over 20, that is progress, and also in bold, this is an ignorant free zone. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I'm not keeping around trash for no reason. It's just, and I'm talking about trash conversations. I'm not saying that personally because I don't know these people personally, so I'm not judging. I'm just saying we don't need that kind of talk, man. Steeler Car says Ringo is the best cornerback in the draft. That's a kid from Georgia, right? Enigma says Kenny has made good decisions. He's not perfect, but a lot of the issue rely on bad reads and receivers dropping passes. Few bad passes as well, but they're not often. Yeah, Kenny, believe it or not, Kenny is improving. But again, like I said, the stuff that I said he has to do, it's gonna come in time. I think he will get it. Now, if he proves me wrong, then he proves me wrong. But I think Kenny will get it. There's enough meat on that bone for me to, to work with. T-Dog says, that's why I think if we go to a top 10 pick, we should get whoever is the best available left tackle should be priority. But if talent level is higher at who's available, and that's the move. Okay, I'm with you. That kid, that Northwestern kid is a monster. And honestly, I haven't watched a lot of offensive linemen. Kenyon kind of told me to watch out for that guy, and I watched the game live. So now my homework is I'm going to watch another game or two of him playing. But yeah, that kid, he was a dog in that game I was watching. I want to say it was Ohio State. Real G Lee says Kenny needs a seasoned OC QB coach to train him out of some bad habits he's starting to show or to stop them from becoming a mainstay. Yep, I'm with you. And that's where I'm at with Kenny, man. I'm not looking for him to be the world beater today. Does he have potential? And not only does he have potential, do I believe it? Yes, I do. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with him. Is it Big Jack Show? Let's just say Big JX. He says, we for sure need to sign a new offensive coordinator this offseason. That has to be priority number uno. I'm with you, but I'm a little afraid because some of you guys informed me that Matt Canada has one more year on his contract. And if he does, y'all know the Rooneys are not known for firing coaches. A lot of times they just let their contract expire. So that does scare me a little bit. Eric Williams says, who would have been nice to see what Calvin Austin might have gave us on offense. Yeah, and I noticed somebody said earlier in the show, somebody said we need another receiver. Let's not forget a kid like Calvin Austin, man. Calvin Austin could open this offense up in a way of having to respect that speed and allowing Pickens to cook. And think about this. Think about the offensive weapons that we have for the foreseeable future. We re-signed Deontay Johnson. Okay, Chase Claypool is gone, but let me just throw some names out there. Deontay Johnson is still Deontay Johnson. George Pickens is already showing you that he's going to be a man-child. Pat Fryermuth. Can we start featuring him a little more? Feeding him the rock? And then you throw in Calvin Austin or, whoever another. That's going to be your core for some years to come. And I'm feeling okay about it. Let's say we start the season off splitting time between the running backs, the splitting time between Najee and a Warren. I'm starting to feel okay about this offense, man, once they, get that camaraderie down. Let's see what else y'all got. Enjoyer says, Kenny struggles just to throw the ball beyond 10 yards. I like the kid, but he's not it. He's not going to be a bad quarterback, but he's not going to be a much better than average. Okay. I respect that assessment. We'll all see. I can't dispute that. And that's where I'm different. I never will challenge someone's opinion. Like, none of us know what he's going to turn out to be. We can't speak that into, to existence. We don't know. So I respect what Enjoyer is saying. He's saying he doesn't think he's bad, but he doesn't think he will be more than just average. That's a fair assessment. It's up to Kenny Pickett to make us all change our minds, or maybe we come back and say, dang, he wasn't it. So we'll see. Walter says we need more jet sweeps. Enigma says he throws a nice deep ball. Not his fault. The play calls only go for the dink and dunks. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on in there, man. I'll be honest. There's a lot going on in there that's adding to that. But there are some throws he misses. Afro Thunder says, I said the same thing about Bush. Need to bring him back. I'm telling you, man, and bring him back. See, again, like I said, not everybody just looks at the raw details of what's happening on the field, and I completely get it. But I promise y'all that Bush hasn't been bad for the duration of this season. He had a couple rocky moments early. Bush has been okay, man. Is he making splash plays like that? Not necessarily, but you're seeing him now make a play here or there in the game, like coverage, and you're seeing it. Tackling the catch, like you're seeing him being in position more. Steelers did a good job with the run game today. As far as defensively, they stuffed the run. They just allowed Joe Burrow to just had that pinpoint accuracy on him, man. Let me see. Sean says, I like your background. Well, thank you, man. I actually took this picture myself at that time, Heinz Field. The only thing I did to it, my brother-in-law actually touched up the clouds there. I changed the color of the cloud so it'd be more in line with the yellow. But that is an actual picture that I took with my camera. A few more. You guys are asking Kenyon about some of the talent. Hello, Debbie. How you doing tonight, Debbie? Another lovely lady in the chat. Debbie says, Walter, so true. Anything that starts 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Let me go back and see what Walter said. Pickens is that dude still, okay. And Dan Moore, bruh. Yeah, Dan Moore. Dan ain't it. DeAndre Moore says, my dad, Derek Moore, was saying no news is good news on Bush. Been playing pretty solid as of late. Yeah, and I fully agree with that. Mr. Derek Moore. I agree with Derek Moore, Mr. Moore. All respects to Mr. Moore. I definitely agree with that. When was the last time we've said something like, oh, man, Bush? I haven't said that in a while. Mr. ABS says, Sim, Kenny just became a pro this summer. It takes time. There's a difference to me between a top 5 QB taken and a first QB off the board. The team, I think, is limiting his plate because he's still learning. And see, you know what, Mr. ABS? Let me throw you a round of applause, man. These are the things that most of us as fans don't know, guys. We don't look at the whole picture. Again, this is not a disrespect, but most fans are what I like to call highlight watchers. And that's not a disrespect. That just means sometimes the stat sheet tells you if a guy is good or bad, or what you saw in one game or one play. And that's how it is with the majority of casual fans, which is cool. Nobody has to be a football savant or nothing like that. But it's things like that people don't take into account. And you know how I know that's probably true what Mr. ABS said? You even heard on the broadcast, Adam Archuleta, a former NFL player, even said, they're trying to keep it fairly simple for Pickett because he's a rookie. So it's all of that. And the funny thing is, as much as I get on Matt Canada, some of it could be that too, as far as his play calling. However, I still feel like even with the keeping it simple, when he chooses to call some of his plays are just off base, man. It's just at the wrong time. All right, man. I didn't mean to go this far, man. This long. So let me read a few more. UT local band says, Sim, you think Steelers will finish positive or negative? Probably negative. Right now, I'm not comfortable sitting here saying that the Steelers will not lose more than 2 more games. If they lose 2 more games, they will have 9 losses. That is negative. What else? Somebody else. Thunder God says, if Bryce there, do you take him or stick with Pickett? You stick with Pickett. I'm curious to see this one. Let me ask the chat. What do you guys think? If Bryce Young is available when the Steelers pick, do you pick him or you stick with Kenny? This is going to tell me a lot about how you guys view the total picture. Tyrone says Bryce all day, Pickett throws soft passes. Okay. I want y'all to answer that. As many of you guys can answer that, and gals, answer that question. The Steelers are up to pick and Bryce Young is there. Do you pick him? Steeler card says Steelers aren't taking Bryce Young. Enigma says stick with Pickett. Joel Jamie says take Young. Kenya says he knows I'm not asking him. Yeah, you're right. D-Mac says flip a quarter. My brother Tony says stick with Pickett. Stick with Kenny. JJ Walker. I'm sticking with Pickett. Rajon. T-Dog says Kenny. Y Diggy says I don't think Bryce Young is gonna be great. I'm coming back to that. JJ Walker says Bryce is too small. Coming back to that. TJ Pope says stick with Pickett. Kenyon says I already know his answer, and I do. I love Mark Malone's comment. He says, I can't answer that until after the season. I think we should know then. Yeah, I love that answer. Because what Mark is saying, let's see a little more. But also, I still think, from a Steelers standpoint, all right, last one. Brent Fox says, stick with Kenny. Guys, David McLeod says, Kenny will be okay, growing pains, that's all. Reggie Red says, Pickett. Don't uproot him. Yeah. Listen, there's no wrong answer there in theory, right? Because we're all just giving our personal opinions. But again, you want to try to think about it from an organization standpoint, not with our personal feelings. Because personally, there's a whole lot of stuff I wish the Steelers would have done or wouldn't have done. And I can't think like that because none of that matters. You know, with following this team, I try to always think about what they're going to do so I can at least give my opinion and base my speculation off of what they're accustomed to do. They are not picking Bryce Young. I don't see it. If they do it, Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, and whoever else, Rooney, they would all shock me severely. If they would go out there and drafted a quarterback in round 1 after taking Kenny Pickett last year. They're not doing that. From an organization standpoint, they understand what this means being Kenny Pickett's first year. They understand what this means with the offensive line not being the greatest. They understand what this means with the offensive tackles not being the greatest. They understand what this means where the Steelers' run game hasn't been formidable most of the season. They understand all of that. So they're not going to do like other organizations. Can I brag on our Steelers organization for a moment? Do y'all mind if I brag on us? They're not going to do what these other organizations do and hit panic buttons. No. The Steelers are all about process. That's it. We're not these other teams. That's why sometimes I get on y'all fans for wanting us to do things that these other teams do. How has that worked out for some of them teams? I was just telling Leonard today, it's amazing how the Browns are not a good team. All them draft picks, all of that turnover, excuse me, at quarterback, all of the turnover at head coach. And look where they at still. Yeah, they've gotten us the last couple times, but I'm just saying, as a whole. No disrespect. We're not the Commanders. Even though the Commanders are looking fairly decent now at this part of the season, but I'm just saying over the years. We're not that. We're not these teams that just keep changing. The Steelers don't do that, which is the reason why most of you guys are in your feelings right now and us having a 3-7 season, because you're not accustomed to seeing it. And there's a reason why you're not accustomed to seeing it. Because we know what we're doing as an organization. It's the reason why some people, again, whether it's personal or not, it's a reason why some people want us to move on from Mike Tomlin. You know why? Because that same coach has put your team in position for 15 years to make you think they can make a run at it. And since he has given you that comfy feeling, now you want the next dude to do it. We're that organization. We're the Steelers. But some of y'all want the Steelers to do peasant stuff. We don't do that over here. We don't do that in the black and gold. TLC told y'all years ago, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to what you're used to. Come on, man. Y'all know better than that. Y'all know better than that. It's your team. It's your team. And if you don't know better than that, you should know better than that. Because now I'm getting on y'all as my family. By now, y'all supposed to know this team. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all got me hot and bothered right now. I ain't got nothing else to say after that. Oh, Joel, Jamie, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't talk about the God rest her soul. Don't talk about left eye like that. He said one of TLC also burnt down a house. You know how? Because she was emotional, like some of y'all. That's what you do when you're emotional. Oh, man. My man Jay Underrated says, question, do we get draft picks if Flores becomes a coach for another team? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I think, I don't know if the compensatory structure works with coaches. I'm not 100% sure. See, when I don't know, I'll tell y'all the truth. I don't know. I would suggest if you're on Twitter, send that question to @SteelersDepot. I can promise you Dave Bryan will know the answer to that. But I'm not 100% sure. But that's a good question, though. Somebody says, drop the mic, Mr. ABS. He says, Sim, if the player they truly convert is still there or their best available, when they take that player, otherwise, they move that pick for high draft picks. You know somebody going to want it. Yeah, you talking now. See, that's something we haven't seen the Steelers do in a while. That's something we have not seen them do in a while. But yeah, I like where you're going with that. And then Big A says Bryce would be the best available. I don't know about that. And like I said, I wanted to get back, man. Listen, Bryce Young is good. He's really good. But yeah, man, the kid he's not that big. And the number one thing is, guys, it's just a projection. Like we always do that with college players, right? We always put it in our spirit that this dude gonna be that dude. You don't know. You don't know. It's always a gamble. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool that I get everybody's in love with Bryce Young right now, but nobody knows that that's a sure thing, and he is a bit small. And we play in a rough and tough AFC North, right? You want Bryce Young running around for his life back there? I don't think you do that. Also, hold on. Here's another thing that y'all got to think about. Haven't you all in this chat complained about the offensive line? Haven't all of you guys said we needed a left tackle or right tackle or guards at any position? You gonna go put another first round quarterback behind a line that you're still trying to get together? Now maybe they get it together next year, but we don't know until we do it. And if you're gonna pick Bryce Young, you got to pick him with the first pick. So you're gonna pick another first round quarterback before addressing the offensive line and just hope. And you had Kenny Pickett and Bryce Young competing for it, and you didn't spend that early draft pick on potentially a top tier offensive line prospect. Yeah, man, you just don't. Yeah, you just don't do that. Eric McDuffie says he likes Stroud better. Okay. Yeah, CJ's dope. Look at that. Kenyon just said exactly what I said. See, me and Kenyon was right on the same page. He says, you got to have an elite offensive line for Bryce Young. Come on, man. Juan Rangel says, Sim, I just turned tuned in, but overall, my excitement. What? He said, overall, I'm excited. We managed to score. Laugh out loud. We've been struggling in the red zone. He said end zone, but I think you said men in the red zone. Nothing was better than seeing Najee jump into the end zone. Yeah, that was dope, man. I just don't want Najee to hurt himself. He leaves his feet a little too much for me. You know, big man fall hard, man. That's a lot of weight coming down. Oh, Joseph Donnelly. Round of applause. Man, you said, boy, if my father-in-law Leonard is in here, he will say, yep, you sure did. I said the exact same thing during the game. Why are we running these tight end screens to Gentry? Did it work one time in one of the games? It did, but dog, who you fooling with a screen or shovel to Zach Gentry? 6'8", lumbering, blocking tight end. Who are you fooling, Matt Canada? See what I'm saying? If you're going to do that, let Move do it. I'm just saying, go with the better option. The guy who can run a little, get some yak, hard to take down. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand. And that's what I'm saying. There's times when Matt Canada makes me scratch my head. Oh, Lord, we got another nasty in here. Let me get him out of here. I'm getting faster with it. Yeah, I just, Canada, come on, man. We need Matt America. Yeah. Yo, yes, we do. Yeah, Joseph, you right on the money. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, too, because, you know, it's a different spelling. He says, laugh out loud, man. See, bro, it's all Canada. He's slow. And I just, yeah, man. Yeah. There you go, Kenya. Peter Skoronsky. I couldn't remember his name. But all right, man. I'm going to get out of here, guys. I've been on here long enough. It's a minute and hour and 29 minutes and 57 seconds. Perfect time to stop. So before I go, I'm going to tell you guys, boom. Hit that thumbs up, push that subscribe, ring-a-ding-ding that bell. And there you have it. All right, man. Love you guys like always. Listen, keep your head up. Let's keep watching, man. Listen, just don't have no expectations. But stick with your team. Don't be one of them fans. We just going through the rough patch right now. It's our turn. It's our turn, guys. 15 years we haven't seen this. Come on. Stop being so spoiled. Stop being so spoiled. We gotta, sometimes you gotta go through the worst to be the best. So we here. All right? But all right, man, catch you guys on Tuesday. That phone number right there on the screen, 619-924-0818 is the number you guys will use to call in. And by the way, plans changed a little bit. I am still at home. I am not in Florida. We'll actually be in Florida for Christmas now. So that's the reason why I can present this the way I normally do. Before I go, one more donation, round of applause. Yeah, you said it perfect, CT Pittman. Thank you. Thank you for the donation, by the way. It says Canada can't even scheme a route beyond the chains, man. And it's situationally, CT. Man, again, I'm not promoting it, but for you all that y'all see that are in green, those are people who have actually joined my channel. They pay a monthly fee, and I show all 22 to them. If you guys have a chance to see it on your own, I suggest you to do it. If you don't have a way to do it, join the channel. Even if you don't stick around, maybe you join the channel just to see that, and then okay. But I promise you, man, when you see the film, you start to appreciate or unappreciate things more clearly. There are times when he does scheme stuff, but he just falls back into, I don't know, man. It's like he falls asleep sometimes situationally. I don't get it. But all right, I'm out of here, man. Much love. Love all y'all. I would say thank you and happy Thanksgiving to you guys, but I'll see you on Tuesday. We'll do that on Tuesday. But y'all have a great rest of the night. Go see what them Chiefs and them Chargers are doing. Get over this loss. Come back well relaxed on Tuesday, and we'll get back to it. All right? So have a good night. Stay safe. God bless. And like always, thank you for tuning in to the post-game reaction show. And I'm out this. You know what? Peace.